I've had to dedicate a lot of time and effort to try to understand what my dad's conditions were and what that means. I understand now there's only a small handful of possibilities that could have led to my dad's particular conditions. He did not have diabetes. I do not recall seeing excessive ketones in his records either. He was malnourished, but I'm not sure how severe or chronic the starvation would have to be to cause ketoacidosis for a non-diabetic. And again, ketones were never the issue. The only lab result that would support that diagnosis would be his abnormal blood sugar results, but I don't think diabetic comas or even starvation would ever also cause an osmolar gap, meaning this diagnosis would leave a lot unaccounted for. It is also important to note that his liver and kidney damage was acute onset. There had been no chronic ongoing sort of kidney or liver damage or health issues. Even the medical notes specifically comment on that fact, that this was a new issue. And that's relevant because that helps to rule out another category of causes for metabolic acidosis, or, high anion gap acidosis. His actual medical records themselves have made clear that no causes for his condition were ever found or properly investigated. He never had a heart attack, and I don't know where people came up with that story, nor did he ever meet the criteria to be diagnosed as brain dead. He was never brain dead, but he wasn't dead. He did have one cardiac arrest on July 2nd, but he was successfully resuscitated. He had been stable off of pressors or blood pressure medication pretty soon after that. His vital signs had already returned to normal. He was doing pretty good considering the circumstances. He never lost his respiratory drive. That is not true. And they're not allowed to declare anyone brain dead when they have a respiratory drive. That's counter to the definition of brain death. Besides that, there was actually a handful of reasons why he did not meet the criteria to diagnose as brain dead. And if he really was brain dead, which he wasn't, then why would they have a deputy coroner? In other words, a deputy coroner means an untrained, random layperson who has been hired by the coroner's office. He died in a hospital. There's no excuse to be needing... the only time a coroner is even permitted to ever declare someone dead or pronounce a death is when someone's dead on the scene, and even then they have to call someone who is qualified to make that call and double check with them that they are making the right call and that this person doesn't need emergency care. So there's very limited circumstances where that should even happen if everyone's following the law and doing what they're supposed to be doing. But that is just one of the many suspicious and concerning things going on here, because if he was truly brain dead, she would be the last person on this planet who would be qualified and legally permitted to make such a declaration. Not even, in many areas at least, even just any old physician wouldn't be allowed to declare brain death without specialized training or some sort of specialty experience, such as neurology, neurosurgeon. Like, it's a really complex and controverted diagnosis. And brain death aside, he's dying in a hospital. He doesn't need to have a coroner come in to declare the death. There's no justification for that. That makes no sense. And it gets even worse when you begin to look into the specific timing that he was supposedly declared dead. Because it's not possible to have happened the way they say it happened within the time frame they say it happened. That's just not possible. And the more you look into that specific time and why they chose that time, the worse it gets.